All right, welcome to the Christian Athlete Podcast. I'm your host, Julian Egbo, and I'm here with the one and only Kooper, Indiana's finest, right here.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure. How are you doing today? How's your day been?
Day's been good, and we had practice, and then just been chilling and done some other stuff, did Bible study, but
Oh yeah,
it's been pretty good.
that's good. The first question I like to ask everybody on the show is, what was your welcome to college basketball moment?
Welcome to college basketball moment. Um, I probably say it's the first time I got dunked on. It was
Talk
it,
about that a little
it
bit.
was in the preseason.
Yeah,
Um, it was actually I've been dunked on multiple times,
yeah.
but the first one it wasn't like it wasn't as bad as the ones after, which was actually kind
Yeah.
of funny. But the first one, I think it was probably Seth on our
Oh,
team.
he's athletic.
He's very athletic. This my summer, in the summer you have
Yeah, yep,
workouts and open gym stuff.
yeah.
And I remember just playing normal defense,
Hmm.
and maybe I was a help guy. I was a help guy,
Yeah.
and he goes up,
Just
jams it easy, and I was like, oh, wow,
yeah,
this
this
is
is
real.
college. This
Yeah.
is not high school anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so and it was a different because in high school people dunk and stuff,
Hmm.
but it was different
Yeah.
with
Kind of athletic college guy doing it, right?
yes. So
The next question I like to ask is, when did you give your life to Christ?
when did I give my life to Christ? Well, for me, I'd say growing up, I'd always kind of had a mindset of wanting to go to heaven, wanting to follow Jesus, but never really gave um, my life to Christ growing up, probably until I was about 15 in high
Hmm.
school. Um, I already knew the gospel and knew that Jesus saved me from my sins. But I think it was February of my freshman year. I after a church service once heard kind of not a normal message, but like at the end they were like, "Who wants to
Yeah.
um, follow Jesus and make the relationship with God real?" And I'd heard it multiple times, but
Yeah.
for some reason this moment was different, and I decided to get baptized that
Oh,
next week.
yeah.
So obviously baptism is super important because it shows you're dead to your sins and alive in Christ. But this one, like the first time that I made the decision, like publicly
Yeah.
to follow him, because before then I kind of went through the motion to follow him. But
Yeah. Yeah.
when I did that, I'd say that was the official moment that I gave my life to Jesus and started to want to obey him,
Yeah. I
like
actually
on
like
my
that.
own will,
Mm.
not just like because
Not
of
just to
family.
do it. Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
willingly actually doing it yourself,
Yes.
not just because anybody else. Okay,
Uh-huh.
pretty good.
Yeah.
So when did you start playing basketball and who got you into it?
Started playing basketball when I was probably 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Probably 4. Uh, Probably my grandpa was
Oh.
the main. Like the first time I remember working out, because with my dad and stuff, we would like shoot a little on a hoop before I could even get up there. But
Yeah.
when I was with my grandpa, I remember him being always intense at a young age, which everyone kind of has that person. So about I was 4, and it was more my brother's 2 years older, so he was playing, and I remember um, one of the games he had at like the Y or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, he was playing, and I'm always just messing around, dribbling, trying to dribble,
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
remember him coming over and trying to like put me through stuff at like 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and I don't think I listened at all, but but I
Hey, you're
did.
a
So
kid.
that was probably the first time that I was like told to do stuff, and then after that, just started playing. And,
Yeah.
yeah, kept going.
About 4 or 5.
Yeah,
Just dribbling,
yeah,
getting the handles right back
get
then
the
early.
handles. Yeah.
So what was it like growing up in Indiana? What was your upbringing like in Indiana?
Um, Upbringing. I mean, I'd say I'm very thankful
Yeah.
um, that I had a mom and a dad in the house, and just that's very be thankful for that,
Yeah.
but also to have like Christian parents. Early on, they
Yeah.
weren't really that. My parents weren't followers. It probably wasn't until like I reached eight
Yeah.
8 years old that my mom started following Jesus, and my dad, and that really kind of changed. Growing up was um, we had different motives and for the right reason. But Indiana, everyone usually says like, oh, the cornfields and the
Yeah.
farm area, and where I'm from, it's not.
They do say that.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I obviously, or if I drive like 5 minutes from my house, you see a bunch of cornfields and stuff. So it is kind of true, but it's not necessarily the. Ever seen Hoosiers?
Yeah.
Yeah, where you drive and there's a basketball goal in the garage or a cornfield. It's not really like that if you're trying to imagine it, but in some areas. But no, where I was at, we had a basketball goal in the backyard, and got to do that. And yeah, basketball was pretty prevalent all the way from second, third grade. It's a big deal. Everyone's, or at least all my friends play basketball and all.
It's like the home of basketball.
Yeah, all the school and stuff. So it's a mixture of what you've heard is kind of true, and a mixture of different stuff.
Yeah. Did you play with your brother a lot?
Yes, I played with him a lot. Played one-on-one here and there, but we actually couldn't play one-on-one that long because we get in fights too early on. We could play one-on-one, but it would by a certain age it got pretty physical. And most brothers, just fight it out and be good, but me and him could never make it work. Like not early on we were good, but by the time we were both in middle school, it was and one of us didn't want to play because there would be a fight going on, but we would always play and push each other, maybe too hard, so it didn't last long.
Yeah, the competitive spirit and our brotherly spirit is one of a kind, honestly. Can you also talk about your great high school career? You had a great high school career. Can you talk about that a little bit? I know you scored 1,000 points in your All-State. Just talk a little bit about your high school career.
Yeah, high school. Well, very thankful again for it all. It was kind of unexpected, early on, just playing freshman year. Started the JV varsity half and half, and just playing, getting used to the high school level. But sophomore year was good. I think I averaged like 13 or something. I don't know, 13. But we won state my sophomore year, which was completely unexpected. If you would have talked to me like during the season or once postseason came, like none of us, even on our team, thought that was like going to happen because our school had maybe like 2 regionals, which is like the second round or third round before state. And so yeah, that was completely crazy to make it to state and then win it. So that was cool. And then junior, senior year were a little different. In my sophomore year, we had about 5 seniors, and even my freshman year, there was like 6 seniors. So it was, when you're playing, you're still playing with upperclassmen and all that. But once junior, senior year hit, we only had 1 senior. My junior year, and then senior year was senior, but it was a lot more different vibes than freshman, sophomore, because we just won state. A little more pressure, a little more
expectations are there now.
My teammate was really good, or is really good. He plays on Purdue now.
Oh, he does?
But he was getting better and better. I was getting better, and then we had obviously some great guys. Another guy that plays in college now too. But really, it was looking back on it, I have different memories and different things. But it's crazy how it works. Like you remember the good games. Like I remember the first time I scored 30 and just the feelings you get. And then you also remember the games where you had 2 points, 4 points, you barely score. So mixed emotions. And then with the college stuff was different too, because my teammate was recruited in junior year. So they're looking at us, and then you're playing, trying to become the player that you want to be in college and work on stuff, but also do stuff well in your game. So, but ending off senior year with the state championship was awesome, and I give God all the glory for that, because we had a lot of close calls and 1-point wins in the postseason.
Oh, wow.
And Trey almost fouled out, or did foul out 1 game. So a lot of ups and downs, but ultimately I think God had a plan through it. So.
What about scoring? When did you score 1,000 points?
Scored 1,000 points my junior year. It was the second game before COVID shut everything down.
Oh.
So my junior year, sectional final Saturday, and that Friday, I think I had 17.
Yeah.
And that hit 1,000. I think it was 1,001 after that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was it was. I think a coach told me before, which I can't believe that happened. Because looking back on it, I didn't think about it during the game, but during the game I did. But before I was like, oh crap, I'm like 15, 17.
Yeah,
but it's
away from it.
Yeah, it's a postseason. You're trying to win to move on.
Win the game. Yeah, that's win or go home. It's not really time to think about.
Yeah,
I might score 1,000.
It's not about me.
Yeah, it's not about you. Yeah. At that point. What was your career high in high school? I'm curious.
So my senior year, the first game I had 44.
Oh,
yeah. So it was
that's really cool.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was a good start off to the season.
Yeah, great start off to the season. 44. Ooh.
It was so my teammate Trey, I keep bringing it up. It was actually like a week before the game. He was good the preseason. Did twist his ankle.
Oh.
And like a week before, my coach tells me, Kooper, it's just gonna be, or Trey's not playing this game.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, because the last 3 years I've been with them every game, and he's really good. We're we build off each other. Mm-hmm. And first game I was like, oh wow, this is gonna. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
So first game without him, and that was my career high. So
was it at home too?
It was away.
Oh, it was away. Okay.
It was away, and it was the first game during COVID, so only like 50 people could go.
Yeah, so not a lot of people saw it.
No students, no, but
so you're just locked in at that point.
It could have
no distractions, right?
Yeah.
And you made the Indiana All-Star game as well.
Yes, that was another. I'm always thankful. I'm thankful for that one because I remember. So season was over. It's kind of brought up to you, like coaches will bring it up, or big games. You kind of think like, oh, they're probably watching for. But I never really
got into all that.
Got into it or thought about it. But once season was over, I think winning state helped. But I was thinking of like the guys because there's 13 usually that make it.
Yeah.
There's 13 that make it. They did 14. And the funny thing is that they gave us numbers for our jerseys for like the week of practice we had, and I was 14. So,
so it was like you were right at
I'm pretty sure they like added me barely making it.
Were you and Trey was on it?
Yes, too? Trey was second in Mr. Basketball voting.
Oh, he was.
So he was gonna make it
anyway.
The question was like, was he gonna win Mr. Basketball?
Oh, wow.
So he was already. He got second in that, but for me, Indiana All-Star was cool because I think I was the last guy chosen.
Yeah, because you're 14. You're
yes,
like,
I was
only 14 guys.
Only
right?
14. I'm pretty sure I was last. But
yeah. I also read it said like you took a mission trip to Guatemala and Jamaica.
Yes.
Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So my freshman year, after basketball season is March, so spring break of my freshman year, went to Guatemala with my church. Mm-hmm. And we went down there with a group called Casas for Cristo, and they build houses for families that don't have much down there. And so build the house and then share the gospel with them and share Jesus with them. So that was a really cool experience, and that was kind of like right when I, like a month before that, I started following Jesus. So it was like early on of my walk with God, but it was really cool to see the families down there and the environment. So that one was really good.
Yeah, you probably have to do a lot of like things you probably saw things you just never thought you were ever going to see. Different culture and just so many ways people live that the average person doesn't know. Right?
Yeah, so just having a different perspective with everything. Like a small thing, there no warm water. Yeah. So just like, I think before that maybe I went to a mission trip before that, and cool water. It's just something you take for granted when you're in the States and have that. But there, it's
that's their everyday life. That's just how they have to live.
That's how you live and get used to it.
That's a great perspective. Can you also talk about how you've grown this year spiritually, mentally, and physically? Obviously through the Lord, than how you were last year.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing has been my mental. Yeah. Like obviously spiritually, that's number one. But having a good mindset with basketball, with school, being a college athlete. Just last year, of course, as a freshman, you don't know exactly what to expect in anything,
you're going in.
from the basketball stuff to the school stuff. But looking back on this summer, the last couple months I really didn't have a good mindset, and with worry and overthinking everything from practices to the games. So this year, I came into really wanting to have more joy and more joy, and what was the other thing? Joy and just having a good perspective with all of it. Because if you focus on focus on a certain thing too much or a certain play, then it's hard to enjoy your practices, enjoy the games, and it spills over and everything. So I think the biggest thing I've been able to grow in and with just relying more on God, because I would pray it last year, but then I wouldn't do the necessary mindsets to have it. So just not focusing on that one mistake or that one play too long, or listening to outside noises when that is not what you're defined by. Ultimately it's Jesus that defines who you are and whose approval you're going for, not coaches or players. Even though you want to help your team, you want to do what your coach says, but to have that affect your life and your
outside of just basketball.
So that's probably the number one thing, is just having joy in Jesus consistently, and then the perspective of enjoying the game but not letting it take down your day with bad stuff.
And I also I was talking to a few other people about this as well, and just it's so easy to just put so much pressure on yourself when you're going and playing, especially you playing at a high level. You're even subconsciously compare yourself to other people. You know what I mean? Oh, maybe this other freshman came in and produced and did this, and then now you're comparing yourself to that. Whereas you should just go in worry free and just trusting, you know what, I'm playing talking about playing in the audience of one and just playing for the Lord, and then letting that just take care of itself. And obviously, work hard and things like that, and put in the work to actually go out there and produce. But you can't judge your days off bad games or good games, because you're really running mad doing that. And early on for me, I was doing that a lot. I would have a bad game and just go home and not even want to talk about it. It's almost like you lost that day just because you had a bad game. A 2-hour game shouldn't define 24 hours of your day. You know what I mean? So I think just growing and just knowing as long as I work hard, I'm not just gonna put pressure on myself. Whatever comes of it happens, and whatever happens. I think that's a good way to just go about it, I would say. And it gives you a lot more peace and joy just knowing that. And when you do have good games, you're gonna be at a lot more peace. And when you have a bad game, you're not gonna get a lot more peace. It's you know what, at least I tried my best, and whatever happens. At least I know how God views me. And what the world views me at this point. So I think that's a really good way to go about that. How you grew in that.
And it's also, one more thing I'll say, is just knowing that God's in control. And to control what you can control. Because with basketball, you can control some things, but there's a lot of things you can't.
A lot of things you can't. I know coaches always say control what you control. You can control your effort and defense and stuff like that. You can go out there and play hard. Now, if you're not playing hard and then you're doing bad, now that's a different case. You know what I mean? But if you're going out there and playing hard, you missed all your shots. You can't really control your makes and misses in games. It just happens. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely huge. You'll control what you can control. Definitely can't control the outcome of games just through your mind, and oh, I'm gonna go out here and score 50. You can't just control that. It kind of just happens, honestly. I like to ask also, could there have been any other school but UT? And why did you choose University of Toledo?
So, why did I choose Toledo?
Could there have been any other schools that almost got you to go there?
So my top three before I chose Toledo were Miami, Ohio, Toledo, and then Towson, University of Towson, it's in Maryland. And it honestly was a pretty hard decision because of COVID. We couldn't go to official visits. So I never got to officially come to Toledo and visit, or unofficial, and meet the coaches and see practice and stuff. So I had to go off of film and Zoom with the coach, what they say and what you hear about them and all that, and their records. So it was tough to go on things, but in the end, I'd say the main reasons were just the relationship with coaches were big. With Coach K and Toledo was what pushed it over, and then just the winning success at Toledo and their play style is what, in the end, made me want to come here and play. But I'd probably say that, and it wasn't an easy decision, but had to use what what you have control over.
Control what you can control.
So that's what I say.
Also, can you talk about being on The Chosen? How you got the opportunity? You guys don't know what The Chosen is. It's a show that's just basically talking about the walk Jesus did while he was here in his ministry. It's a great show. You guys should watch.
Yeah.
And luckily enough, he was on it. He was on the show. So can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So we got the opportunity, me and my mom and dad, to be on the Feeding of the 5,000 episode. And The Chosen was filmed in Texas. So it was a really cool experience. We actually we didn't know what to expect coming in. We just thought, we obviously knew there'd be a ton of people. But we made a mistake in where we walked in. Because there was different groups, because there were so many people there. They had a place where you hung out while the filming was happening. And when we were up, they called everyone in our group up, and it was 90 degrees in Texas. It was super hot. So my dad's struggling in the shade because it's already been hours. My mom, she was doing better than he was. But we're in the shade, and they call him. So we wait in the shade until we really have to go, because they call 15 minutes before, and then you leave. So we're last in the whole group of people. We didn't know what was going on, and they bring everyone to the set, and it's this big field, because when Jesus, in the story, Jesus talks to people and then he feeds them, because there's so many, and he didn't want to send them home. Anyway, we get to the field, and we see the cameras, and I'm kind of getting the vibe, but eventually we sit down, and we're in the very back of the whole field, and there's a camera maybe 20 yards in front of us. But once it gets going, the actor Jesus is talking, the disciples are talking, and we can barely hear it at all. And it was still a good experience, but we did get to see it close. So we're in the back, and the cameras are up there. So you probably won't see us when you watch the episode, but it was a neat experience to have everyone dressed up as people from that time.
How did they just had the clothes and you guys went there?
No, you had to bring your own.
Wow.
So for weeks before, my mom was shopping,
sewing clothes and trying to find it,
looking for stuff, and
wow,
get the whole outfits up. But it hasn't came out yet. But I don't know what episode, but it's season 3.
Season 3 it's about to drop, or it just dropped, like that.
The first 2 episodes.
The first 2 episodes dropped, which is pretty cool. So you're in a cameo on it. So you're still on. He's still on.
He's still there.
Yeah. So what did you learn about your freshman year of basketball at UT? What did you learn?
What did I learn? Probably. The obvious is obviously it's a higher level of play, but probably one of the biggest things I learned of how important each possession is. Because in high school, obviously it all matters. Every play matters, but you I don't know, you don't take them take them serious. I don't know how to word it the best, but all I know in college, it's the possessions are, runs can happen easier. So just learning that, and the strength is of course a lot higher. Just using that and being smart, because at least at Toledo, our big guys are really good, but sometimes we're not as big as the other teams. So just being smarter. One thing I learned was just with bigger guys, maybe driving around, and then with smaller guys posting up and stuff. So just probably being smarter when you play, and just not taking possessions for granted. Probably the biggest things I've learned. I learned last year.
Okay. Also, can you just take us to your average day in the life, Division I athlete like yourself? Average day in your life.
Average day, a school day when we have school?
Yeah, with school.
Okay.
Yeah, with school.
So school day, usually we practice at 9.
Okay.
And I work out probably an hour before practice. So wake up at 7, get ready. Sometimes I read the Bible, or most mornings read the Bible in the morning. Then head to the gym and work out in the morning at 8 to usually like 8:40 before practice.
Okay.
And then we practice usually 9 to 11:30.
Yeah.
And then after that, we usually lift. We do that about 3 days a week. So we lift until 12:30. Not, I usually get out after shoot some more. So that's about 12. Then I got class from 1 to 2. So I usually eat before that. I rush out of practice, eat until about 1, as close as I can get.
Yeah.
Go to class from 1 to 2, and then leave class, and I usually maybe study a little bit or head straight to the gym again, and I get more shots up or play one-on-one or something, shower, and then try to eat dinner before my 8:30 class, which this year I had a pretty late one. So then go to class 8:30, and then get back and probably try to read Bible a little more, and then by then head to bed and
take over.
try to get bed by 10, 11, and wake up at 7 next day.
And do it again.
So that's probably a normal day.
Yeah. The average day. It's a busy day though.
Yes, very busy.
Really busy, which is good. It's good to stay busy. So when did you start, like, honestly, we kind of talked about it a little bit before, but like just playing for the Lord and not like playing for like all the things? Was that kind of the thing that we talked about a little bit earlier, but can you kind of talk a little bit more about that, like just playing for like that audience of just one?
Yes.
And when did you kind of start more realizing that? It happened to me later in like my career. I start thinking like that. What about you?
For me, in high school, my mom and even my grandparents, I talked to them, and my dad also would tell me, like, would pray before games and would tell me who I played for, and I did, but semi, not really. Kind of like with my relationship with God, it wasn't me still. So probably not until my senior year was I like mentally like, I'm gonna play for Jesus, and this is all for His glory. So senior year, I think I really had the mindset of having peace, knowing one, His glory, no matter what, it's for His glory. I'm gonna work hard as I can for Him, and then 3, just to let whatever the outcome is be for Him and not worry, because it doesn't define me as a person, and it's not eternal. So probably my senior year, and then probably senior year and last year were like the first times that I took every game as for God, and just helps when you have that perspective, because there's not as much pressure, and you can enjoy it more.
And definitely get a lot more joy doing that. Yeah, like for me, I said earlier, like it happened to me a little bit later. Like I always like would pray before the game, and pray like I go out there and play well, not be bad and things like that. But it was a little bit later when I started like just letting loose completely and just knowing like, you know what, no more pressure on myself, because I know how God views me. I know how my family views me as well. Like, and I'm not gonna go out there and be playing just to have a good game or a bad game. I started realizing it like affecting relationships in a way, like whereas I would have a bad game and like not want to talk to anybody. You know what I mean? And that's not. You should never be let a game, because it's a game at the end of the day. Like, you should never let that define like your relationships and how your mood is for the rest of the day. Like,
so it was college or high school for you?
It was college. Yeah, like maybe like my junior and senior year, mostly like my senior though. But yeah, I'll say that that was when I really started. Also, can you talk about winning a MAC championship last year? You guys won a MAC regular season champions, right?
Yeah, so it was. That was really fortunate to be on a really good team right out of being as a freshman. But we were 17-3 in the MAC, so it was really successful. I think down the stretch was when it got serious, because we had to win. Like, we had to keep winning, obviously, to win it, but it was close in the race between, I think it was us and Kent State.
Okay.
But MAC play, first year of MAC play, it was it was tough. I mean, you play teams twice, so you know what to expect, and you're scouting everything, every little detail, who drives right or left shoulder, or this is their plays. So to come out of it and win the MAC championship was awesome, and to head to the tournament with 1 seed. It was a cool experience, and it was great that we got to be 17-3, and hopefully we can do it again.
Yeah, hopefully we can do it again this year.
Yeah.
Can you also talk? Do you have any aspirations of like playing basketball after college?
Yeah.
Anything like that? Do you?
I'd like to. I'd say the goal would be to, after I play in college, to play overseas or somewhere else. But really, it's giving it all to God and trusting Him. And like we said, I think we already talked about it a little. It's not like, oh, it's all God. I'm just gonna go through the motions and do this. But it's working hard and having that mindset of I want to glorify God through this game in whatever way that He wants me to. But also trusting Him in it, because I don't know what plans He has for me, but I know that it's for His good. And if it is to play basketball season, I like to do it. I love to do it.
Yeah, that's great.
But want to do it for Him. And so I'd like to do it.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, that is really good. Also, how hard is it to be a Christian athlete in college? What advice can you give a freshman coming in as a believer?
Good question. First thing I'd say is not easy. It's not. Yeah, it's not. You can't. You just can't go through the motions and be like a normal student. Obviously, you can do the stuff everyone else does, but at the same time, you can't, because there's just some stuff and the way some people talk and the way people do things that it's not. You got to choose when not to do certain things. Yeah. So I would say it's a lot of relying on God and surrounding yourself with people, with followers of Jesus, like no matter where you are on your team and in class and all that. So it's but it's still enjoyable to go through it and to see how God works in different people. I think that makes it being a Christian, not just you living for Him and having those friends that are, but seeing friends that you have that weren't really taking Jesus serious to start taking Jesus serious
that's definitely
is real awesome. But advice I'd give to a freshman, probably just to this isn't a good one, but to surround yourself with some believers, whether you are in the sport or not. But early on, I think that was big, is having people that follow Jesus around you, because if you don't, you probably will go towards that way. And then also remember, it's not easy. It's not always a natural thing just to be a Christian and be on campus and around people. So it's also like a choice. It's not necessarily just go with the flow.
It's like a daily choice to like pick up your cross and just walk with the Lord every single day, like making a choice. And it's ups and downs with it for sure, because I know I've struggled with it, and it's really common to struggle with it. Like nobody's perfect, obviously. So it's just about, I think, also just being more intentional too, like with like who you're doing it for at the end of the day, and like prioritizing that each day. And like obviously you're gonna have some days where you're gonna stumble, but you still get back up and do it and start over and do it again, and keep trying to be more consistent at it. A few more questions before the quick hitters.
Okay.
Can you talk about the highs and lows of basketball? And basically just like, obviously the highs are super high in basketball and the lows are super low. We kind of talked about it a little bit throughout the interview, but like I'm just talking a little bit more about it.
Highs and lows. Would you say like from an individual?
Yeah, from an individual, just knowing like, for example, like I know sometimes you can like easily be like, okay, I scored 30 points and we won this game at the buzzer, and now I'm like feeling good. And then there's days that you have 0 points or you don't play, and then it's like, oh man, like what kind of day is this? Like, so just like, can you talk about that and just like way to navigate through that?
Yeah. So you are right. They're super different. Like it's not like the high is here, low is here. They're crazy how basketball is. Like a high, last year was, the games I did score well and play good defense and we win. Like that's crazy. Like you're like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing it and play hard and repeating it. And then you have your lows where you don't score, you don't play much, you don't play good defense and you practice and it doesn't go well. So I went through both last year, and they are pretty diverse. But I'd say the common thing that'll get you through it is just not putting your ultimate hope in those highs and lows. Yeah. Because if your hope is in how your performance is, then man, it's gonna be rough, and it's gonna go up and down. So if your hope's in Jesus, then it's consistent. Like no matter what your performance was, you score well, have good practices, play good defense, or you don't score, don't play much, don't play good defense. You still trust in Jesus and know that He loves you, and you can have confidence in Him when playing. So I think that's a big thing that can help you not be so focused on those. It's just knowing that your confidence is in Jesus and that He, wants good for you.
That is a good way to look at it, because if you just put Him first with all of it, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna go to sleep well at night.
Yeah.
Or if you start putting everything in yourself and pressuring yourself to do it, to consistently reach highs, it's like you're gonna just, we talked about, it's gonna be a rocky road, and like you're just not gonna go to sleep well at night every day. Thinking like that, it's gonna keep you up at night. You're gonna probably try to find different things that to kind of reach those highs that aren't things you should be doing, things like that. So it's definitely good if you keep Him first. I think you will definitely have a nice road through everything, through all the ups and downs, basically. Last question before the quick hitters. What's one thing you wish people knew about Division I athletes that you don't think the average person knows? Or athletes in general, college athletes in general, not Division I.
Yeah. I'd say, the obvious would be that it is challenging, but maybe one thing I want people to know, probably,
that's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
That's a tough question.
That, I don't know, maybe that sports, not everyone, because you look at an athlete, college athlete, and you do see like their sports self and their personality. Yeah. But probably just that they're people outside, like they are people outside of the game. Yeah. And I think people know that, but to like really know, like the people at my team, it's just people I've seen in Toledo in the different sports, that they are like pretty cool people. Like when you get to know them, and some of them are cooler outside than inside. They are on the court. Yeah, because like that's true. Maybe they're enjoyable. Most people are, tough to play with. They're enjoyable to play with up and down. But like outside the court, there are many athletes that are pretty cool to hang around. Yeah, and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think an average person watching from outside and always look at it like, oh, you're supposed to go out there and be a basketball player, be a soccer player, be whatever. Instead of looking at it like, they are normal people too at the end of the day, outside of this 2-hour game you're watching, or 1 hour this and that.
They do mess up, and they do have good.
They're not perfect people, like just because they're athletes or whatever. Yeah. So that's actually good. Yeah. People don't even know that. All right, a few quick hitters before we end. Favorite verse in the Bible?
Ephesians 2:8. Ephesians 2:8 through 9. You want me to do it? For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. For we are God's handiwork, created in Christ Jesus to do good works in which God prepared in advance for us to do. 8 through 10, not 8 through 9.
8 through 10. It's a Bible right there. Favorite athlete?
Favorite athlete? That's a tough one because I like different sports. With basketball, I'd probably go back to, I'd say Terry Rozier.
Terry
I know it's a sneaky one, but I used to watch Louisville a lot when I was back home there with 20 minutes away. So right next to it. He was my favorite growing up.
In college and everything. He is still good now, though, too. Yeah. He's pretty good. Another question. What's your favorite, or who's your favorite person in the Bible other than Jesus?
That's a good one. I'd probably go with Paul. Paul, because of his boldness and his like acceptance. Like he's one of those that has those highs and lows. Like I feel like he has those. He's on fire for God, and or I would say after his conversion, because before it was what he was doing, but like his highs of serving God and feeling the Holy Spirit and everything, and then the lows of being in jail and of being persecuted. So I'd say just his heart for Jesus. That's why I say Paul.
That's a good one. Last question. Top 3 people, dead or alive, you'd like to have dinner with?
Number 1, Jesus. That count?
Yeah.
Okay.
That counts.
Jesus. Number 1.
Great number 1.
Do I do characters of the Bible, or are we doing, or should I do
just
people?
in general, people or characters, whatever you want to choose.
If I do more characters of the Bible, I'll go like Peter or Paul. I do 2 is Peter or Paul.
Yeah.
And then 3, I'd probably Michael Jordan and LeBron.
Okay.
Are my 3rd basketball guys.
Okay, that's a good one.
I'll probably quiz that. Yeah.
That's a good top 3.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's a really great top 3. All righty.
Yeah.
Appreciate you coming on the show.
Thanks
you
for
so
having
much.
me.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching.